So we're here in Death Valley to kind of explore what it's like just to visit this place and experience this level of heat. Now, it's important to note this isn't the official temperature Death Valley. It's the temperature it is right here. So we're getting a little additional heat against the wall and cement. When you're here and that says 130, it feels like 130. So many of the locations you can visit in Death Valley are much like this one, where you can pull up a car, jump out, get to the place you want to take your photos in a couple of feet. In fact, park rangers have told me this is the preferred method, minimizing that exposure to this kind of heat, rolling up in your vehicle, popping out, getting a couple photos, and getting back into that air conditioning. So we just arrived in Badwater, and I kind of want to take you through the stages or waves of how the heat affects you out here. So this is our, let's say, the first stage. In your car, air conditioning, looking out at the heat. Pretty nice right now.
It's like a wave that hits you when you get out of the car.
So we've left the car, walked down onto the salt flat, and this is where the heat finally really hits you. You realize just how hot it is. You started sweating, and it feels inescapable. And I think that's the way to summarize the heat out here, is inescapable.
Usually a breeze is cool. This is not a cool breeze whatsoever.
So I grew up in the desert, and I've worked in some pretty extreme environments in my life. And I can say that this is a different level of heat. Every step you take going away from the cars feels like 2 steps going back. One thing I would say is you just don't acclimate. I've been out here for half an hour and it feels as hot now as it did when I stepped out of the car, if not even worse. I have to make sure that my skin is not touching my equipment just to avoid being burned. One last thing to note about Death Valley is just because the sun sets doesn't mean it really cools down. I was out till about 12:30 last night and it never dropped below 100 degrees.